An extraordinary development in Washington as President Trump today faced condemnation from both Democrats and Republicans for essentially greenlighting a Turkish assault on a key U.S. ally in the fight against terror, the Kurds. More than two-thirds of Republicans joined Democrats in a House vote to oppose the president's action. The president's friend, Senator Lindsey Graham, called Syria the biggest mistake of his presidency and said it will put America at risk. He also said the president's indifference towards the Kurds completely undercut the trip tonight by Vice President Pence and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to Turkey to try and end the conflict. There is so much to talk about tonight, and Paula Reed leads off our coverage tonight at the White House. Paula, things are getting very heated.
Heated indeed, Nora. The president's decision to withdraw U.S. troops from northern Syria continued to reverberate today during an explosive meeting between the president and congressional lawmakers, which ended with an exchange of insults and Democrats storming out of the White House.
I want to bring our soldiers back home. We're not a police force. We're a fighting force.
All day, President Trump has been insisting the war in Syria is not America's concern.
I'm not going to get involved in a war between Turkey and Syria, especially when, if you look at the Kurds, and again, I say this with great respect, they're no angels.
Kurdish forces have fought alongside the U.S. for the past 5 years to battle ISIS and feel betrayed by the U.S. withdrawal. They're now left struggling to fend off invading Turkish forces. The president's remarks drew sharp criticism from one of his closest allies, Senator Lindsey Graham.
This is a defining moment of Trump's presidency. If we abandon the Kurds, it will be to our shame and to our national security detriment, and Trump will own the reemergence of ISIS.
Mr. Trump fired back.
Lindsey Graham would like to stay in the Middle East for the next 1,000 years with thousands of soldiers and fighting other people's wars. I want to get out of the Middle East.
A bipartisan majority of the House voted to condemn the president's decision to pull troops from Syria. And when that came up in the meeting with the president and congressional leaders, Mr. Trump reportedly became angry.
He was insulting, particularly to the speaker.
Democrats say the president called Pelosi a name and was quite nasty, so they walked out. The president disputed claims he gave Turkish President Erdogan the green light to invade Syria, releasing a letter he sent last week urging restraint. "Don't be a tough guy. Don't be a fool," he wrote. That same day, Turkish troops stormed into Syria, hitting the Kurds with ground and air strikes.
Paula, take us inside that extraordinary White House meeting. What happened? Who was there?
In this meeting, Nora, were members of both parties and a few members of the president's cabinet. CBS News has learned that in this meeting, the president continued to suggest that the Kurds are, quote, communists, and insisted that only the least dangerous ISIS prisoners had escaped in Syria. Now, impressed by Democrats, the president's own defense secretary could not verify that claim. Democrats also quoted former Defense Secretary General Mattis, who the president dismissed as, quote, the world's most overrated general. Now, the White House insists the president was measured, factual, and decisive in this meeting, and that Pelosi only stormed out to, quote, go whine to the press.
So much there, Paula. Thank you so much.